Well, this is the, well, we're here background info, and this is basically the life before the American Revolution. And the first thing we're going to concentrate on is we live in, and this is basically colonial life. Now, in 1685, James II came to power in England, and he revokes the charters of the colonies and replaces the assemblies with crown-appointed bodies. So he revokes the charters and replaces the assemblies in the colonies with crown-appointed bodies. Basically, he says, I'm the boss now, you deal with it. And here's some more info on James II. Now, in 1689, James was replaced by some oranges, William and Mary of Orange to be exact, during the Glorious Revolution. You should have learned that in world history. And the oranges, they institute a policy of salutary neglect, which basically means the colonies have self-rule as long as England's making that paper in the colonies and there is no war. And if you want to learn more about Mary of Orange, there you go. Now, as people realized the colonies were the hard knock life and the population declines in the 1600s, many turned to Africa for workers. They have to have somebody to work their plantations. By the mid-1600s, states had passed permanent slave laws. Because of the population decline, that's why they go to Africa for workers. And by the mid-1600s, states had issued slave laws. And some more info on slavery in America. Now, during the 1700s, slavery increased with the Columbian Exchange. We're not talking about, yes, it's Colombia, but not talking about drugs here. Slaves were picked up in Africa on the Columbian Exchange for European finished goods. They were then shipped to America to harvest the raw materials, which were shipped to Europe to make those finished goods. So it's one big kind of triangle circle. And here's a video to help you understand that. Now the British believed in what is called mercantilism, which was basically getting everyone else away from the colonies, getting the good stuff out of the colonies, and selling the finished goods back to the colonies in order to benefit from the taxes and duties. So mercantilism is basically getting all the good stuff out of the colonies. That means the raw materials like the tobacco you see here. Selling the finished, taking those raw materials and making good stuff with them, and selling the finished goods back to the colonies in order to benefit from the taxes and the duties. And if you want to know more about mercantilism, there you go. Now the British, new taxes and duties were passed by the British in the 1600s. So you start seeing them tax people in the 1600s. It includes the Navigation Acts, which the intent was to end trade with anybody else but the Brits. The colonies were hurt at first, but they benefited from the fact they got better British goods at lower prices. So the Navigation Acts in the 1600s basically was to end all trade with everybody in the colonies except for the Brits. And of course, this starts a commercial revolution. People wanted British stuff. They wanted British finished goods. George Washington being a perfect example of somebody who wanted British finished goods. Now, the Enlightenment movement in the 1700s was a big-time influence on American thought, especially ideas about government from people like John Locke, Rousseau, Voltaire. So the Enlightenment, big part of America, especially thoughts on government like Locke, Rousseau, and Voltaire. And if you want to know more about the Enlightenment, look over here. Now, Ben Franklin was the man when it came to the Enlightenment in the colonies, and he gained lots of work, got lots of fame, through his scientific works. And if you want to know more about Ben Franklin, there you go. There you go again.